Hey everybody, this is Brett, and once in a while I get curious to see what a place looks like. And so I'll go on Google Maps and then I'll put it on Street View and I'll go right down onto the street and I'll travel around. And if you've never done this, it's really cool. And so tonight I'm going to Bucha, Ukraine. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was before it got destroyed by the Russian forces, the Russian assholes. And so, yeah, let's go check out Bucha, Ukraine. So, I don't really know where this is. It's in downtown Bucha, somewhere. And it looks like a nice sunny day for the most part, and trees and buildings. You can only go down streets where the Google van went down. And I may have to go back and try another street. Here's Irpin, here's Bucha. Let's go right there. It looks very clean. There's no garbage. It's nice and green. I kind of want to go into a residential area and see what that looks like. How about here? Look how nice. It is gated a lot, which indicates that there is crime. It's like that a lot in Costa Rica. You know, there's a lot of fences. And so Ukraine isn't, you know, a super civilized country. Their president was elected because he was telling people that he was, you know, largely the reason he was elected was because he was against corruption, which means that there's obviously a lot of corruption there. But they're a country in transition, you know, they're wanting to be civilized, they're wanting to be upstanding citizens, and they're wanting to be free. But look how beautiful and nice and clean this town was. Look how beautiful. People walking down the street. I mean, it's not that clean here where I live. What a nice place it was. That looks like some kind of a park or a zoo or something. And if you're just joining us, this is Bucha, Ukraine before it was destroyed. Nice little houses. Looks like a a really nice area here, you know, a nice outskirts of a city here in the United States, even to a degree. See if you guys are responding to this. Hey, Diana. So let's go to a different area of Bucha and see. Ruins of the family estate. That looks nice. Look how pretty that is. It's interesting that the Google van drove down this little dirt road in Bucha. Look how beautiful. Look how clean. I've not seen a piece of garbage. I've not seen a piece of garbage on the road anywhere there. There we go. Look how beautiful. Let's go down this road here. I hope you can see this. I'll bet a lot of these houses are just destroyed. Look at how nice that is. There's no garbage anywhere. Look at how clean. Look at what a beautiful place this is. It was. The woman walking along with a basket. These are nice houses, you know. Nice suburbs. Look at that. I'll bet that apartment complex is completely destroyed. It looks like an upper middle class area, like of the United States. You couldn't tell the difference. It has the European look, you know, and so there is a different look. Are you guys watching this with me? Look at that pretty house. Pretty yellow and red. Like if you were a Russian soldier, would you think that these people are Nazis? We have some of those bushes here. Those purple, I don't know what they are, but look how beautiful. Look how clean, just amazingly beautiful this little town was. Look at that. So clean and so well kept. Just a beautiful place. With a nice brick. Look, a lake. Oh no, it was tennis courts. It's tennis courts. No, that's a soccer field. That's a soccer field. Look at the park. It's got a little graffiti on there, but this is all cool graffiti. I've not seen one piece of trash anywhere. Such a shame that they did that to it and the people there. Just such a shame. Look at that beautiful brick wall or stone wall. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. So we're just traveling down the road in Bucha, Ukraine before it was destroyed. Look at the people walking along on a nice day. And here's a nice little board with notices, just like a board anywhere in the world, with people putting up notices in a park, beautiful park. How green and clean it is just amazing. I'm not sure what they're blocking out there. They've blurred something. It's just a very, very nice place. It was, anyway. So I'm sending them so much good energy, as much as I can. And hoping that their army completely destroys the Russians. It's just a really beautiful little suburb of Kiev. It was. I hope that a lot of this, I hope that some of it isn't just completely wiped out, you know, because look how beautiful. So let's see. Yeah, Diana, if you haven't watched the news, then you should if you want to see what it looks like now. That's the town of Bucha it's been occupied for a month by the Russians and just completely, a lot of it's destroyed. So were you guys able to see that very well? It's hard for me to know how good it is to just point the camera at a computer screen. Were you able to see that good? So I'm having a mild migraine tonight, but I learned from a doctor, believe it or not, that if you drink coffee, it helps with pain because it shrinks inflammation, blood vessels. And it seems to be working. So you were able to see that good when I pointed the camera at the Google Maps, Michael? Confirm, please. Thanks. So, anyways, it looks like they've got a race. They're having a little race here to eastern Ukraine to see who can get the most weapons and who can be the smartest there. But I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers. It should be interesting. Hey, Tommy, who are you? I've never seen a Tommy here before. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Tommy is the pinball wizard. He's a pinball wizard. There has to be a, what's the words? I don't know all the words. It has to be a trick. You know, Elton John, pinball wizard, and Tommy. What else do I think of? I don't know what else I think of when I think of Tommy. My computer guy is named Tom. But yeah, so I'm drinking coffee and it seems to be quelling my headache problem. I get migraines. um, Marlon from The Godfather. I don't believe I watched The Godfather much. I don't really like mafia movies. I don't really like stuff like that. It's a weird thing. I like real life things because I like to get involved if I know that it's a real life thing. I like to throw in my 2 cents, like, for instance, the Ukraine war. If I feel that there's an energetic something or rather going on, like that it involves me or my future, and this definitely does, then I really like to get involved because I feel as though I know that thoughts are things. A friend of mine from a long time ago said that thoughts are things. And when we put our energy into that, something that we really care about, then I believe that we're manifesting, we're becoming involved. And a lot of people don't want to become involved by placing their thoughts into things that they think are maybe dangerous, or maybe they feel as though maybe they don't have the ability to come back to a neutral space. And I was telling someone on Facebook just yesterday that the way that I'm able to be in this war as I am is by doing my work in between. And I do my sitting quietly and peacefully thing. I do my self massage, as you know. I do my stretching, as you know, and a whole lot of other things. And one of the most important things I do when I'm meditating is that I reason things out in my mind. Okay, so sometimes last night I went to some deeper levels in my mind, and I can't even remember where I went. All I can tell you is that I'll think about something and then I'll ask myself a question. Okay, so why, where, who, what, about that thing. And then maybe I'll even go deeper into the aspect of that thing. And then I'll ask myself, well, where do I need to be able to be good with that? And so I'll just reason things out. And it's like my spirituality, it's mental, but it's spiritual. And so um, these are the things that I have to do to be able to get peace in here. To be able to have inner peace here, for me anyway, I have to figure things out here. And so that's what I do to be able to come back to center after I've been at war on the internet, and becoming involved with that kind of a thing that I think is really important right now that we're witnessing in Ukraine. Because the more I learn about history, and like I told you, I've not been really interested in history, and I don't really like to delve into history that much. But I do in this regard because I feel it's important for me to understand things with where Russia's been and where they need to go. Okay, so they've been misled and they've allowed themselves to be misled. Okay, it's not just that they've been manipulated, it's also that they've allowed themselves to be manipulated. It's never just a one-sided thing, okay? This life is really hard. It's really hard. And people here are really spoiled in our country. They've really also allowed themselves to be weak here. They've allowed themselves to get weak because I don't know why. I don't know. They just sit and watch TV, or they just sit and play computer games, etc., etc. And you can't do that. If you do, if you're somebody that's just been eating the, processed foods, if you've just been sitting around, and if you've not spent the time doing the work, then it's not going to work. You've become weak. And the only way for people to get stronger is to work. And right now, like, you can measure this. You can measure different peoples around the world and how much they're working. And you can bet right now that the people that are working the hardest in our world for freedom are the people of Ukraine. And that work is so hugely important. And the internet, that work combined with the internet and allowing everyone in the world to see what's going on, including people in China and other places, people in Venezuela and Cuba, for them to be able to see what's going on and to try to decipher the truth. So they can see things one way, or they can see things the other way, or various places in between. But for them to be able to decipher the truth and what the truth might be, like are the Ukrainians actually setting all of this up? Did they actually kill those people in Bucha? Did they destroy their own town, like the Russians are saying? Or was it actually the Russians that did it? What makes sense? And so it's giving everyone an opportunity to try and decipher the truth. And so it's all an amazing dynamic. It's all a really amazing dynamic. And I was watching a video yesterday where some people were this guy was just analyzing the war, right? He's just analyzing, he's a historian of the Russian past. And he's saying that this is what Russia is going to do, and they are going to completely destroy and eventually take the country. But this is someone that just looked at the past. He's just knowledgeable about the past, and he doesn't actually take into account the current dynamics of what's happening and the internet. And he's not thinking about the emotional aspect of it all. And see, emotions are a powerful thing to instigate change in our world. And it's so amazing to see how the people that died with their arms tied behind their backs are not dying. They didn't die in vain. They died for a very important reason, to save. Like Jesus, okay? Those of you that are Christians, right? You believe that Jesus died on the cross to save us. Perhaps, yeah, he did. But we're all going to die for a purpose. And some of us are going to die for a very high purpose. And those people that are dying, and animals that are dying in Ukraine right now, are dying for an amazing purpose. Perhaps to save the whole world. Because what needs to happen, in all honesty and logically, if you look at it, the Russian Empire needs to die, and it can't happen just quickly like that. Because if it does, they may overreact and start pushing nuke buttons. It has to happen as quickly as we can possibly make it, though. The death of the Russian fascist regime has to happen. And then all of those countries that are feeding off of it, as mentioned before, the ones that we all know about, all of those have to die along with it. And it's just so, for me, I don't, some people, if I strike up a conversation, I tried to strike up a conversation on the street the other night about this with someone, and they immediately shut down. And you'll see that the people that are watching this right now, if they tune in and they hear me talking about this stuff, a lot of them just don't have the capacity to stay, and they will immediately leave. I'm just telling you what my thoughts and feelings are right now. And I can do that because, like I said, I have the ability to stay centered because of all the healing tools that I have. And if I didn't have those tools, I'd probably be checking out, because the more you engage yourself with things that are difficult to think about, stuff that's hard to swallow, the more your body tenses up, the more your stomach turns. But if you have the tools, then you can engage with it. You can see it, death and destruction. But then you connect with God again, or you reason things out, and you see the benefits. Just like COVID, it was so hard for us to see it. But if we have the ability to go into what Muji calls the isness, if you can go back into the isness like I was for about 2 hours last night, then you can come back to center. It's a neutral place. When you can come back to that neutral place, then your heart starts to calm down. Your adrenaline starts to lower. Your stomach starts to come back to a place of calmness. Your digestive system starts to feel more of a parasympathetic place, space, whatever you want to call it. And then you start to digest again. And your digestive system's peristalsis starts to function again. And you start to calm and breathe again. And the next day you're ready for battle once again. And like I said, thoughts are things. And so you can't just, you aren't just helpless. A lot of people, they'll say in their minds, they'll say that they're helpless to do anything. They can't do anything about what they see on the news, on videos. It's not true. It's not true. You can do a lot. And I think I mentioned this before, that we drink something. Hi, Susan from Toronto, Canada. I love The Sopranos. Yeah, I don't like horror movies or anything that's related to the mafia, like Donald Trump. I don't like getting into anything, especially if it's just, a written script. Um, you're looking at somebody that likes, if I were to watch a movie, which I really don't have time to do, if I were to watch a movie, it would be like a good ending, heart filled kind of thing. The only reason I watch death and destruction things on the news like Ukraine is so that I can get involved and create a good outcome from it all, like what I'm doing now. And even though I don't like most people because they're so lame, most people, I think that they're so weak and they don't get involved. There are a small percentage of people that I just absolutely love. When I see people doing something good, something ethical, it makes me want to live. It makes me want to stick around and keep doing my thing. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I can stay here living by myself in a town where I have nothing, little in common with average people and no one to talk to. That's the reason. This computer enables me to see the good things happening in our world. And whenever I feel that I can throw in my 2 cents with my mind, thoughts energetically through the ethers, that's another thing, that keeps me rocking. When I was a kid, I liked Casper the Friendly Ghost. It was one of my favorites. Thanks, Julie. You too. How old are you, Michael Jackson? Mm. How old are all you guys? How about you, Susan? How about you, Tommy? How about you, Julie? How old are y'all? 9 people are watching. Julie's 55, 2 years younger than one. Well, I'll be 57 in July. I'm a Cancer. What's your sign, Julie? Julie's from Texas. What part of Texas and what's your sun sign? Michael's a Virgo. Nice. So I've found that a lot of my friends on Facebook, they they have a lot of similar astrological energy as me. A lot of Virgo, a lot of Leo, a lot of Cancer. Everything in that, like from June to October energy. A lot of all that. Diane, have I seen you before? Diane, 62 Cancer from Utah? What part of Utah are you from? Do you know that I'm from Payson? Yup, Payson, Utah. Rude to ask. Michael Jackson. I tell you everything about me for the most part. Well, not everything. So it's definitely not rude for me to ask things like your age or where you're from. Like, I do not like freaking Utah. And I'm really not into moving back out west because of the fires. Like fires are a huge danger anywhere in the west unless like other than the desert. And like I've not seen a lot in Utah, but Oregon, Northern California, Colorado. What part of northern Utah? Okay. My mom's from Logan. My mom, she lives in Ogden, the Ogden area now. My brother lives in Roy. I went to school in Salt Lake, massage school. So there's 8 people watching and only 3 participating in the conversation here. Susan's from Toronto. How old are you, Susan? Diane's originally from Maine. So 62 Cancer. So my grandpa owned the grocery store in Payson, Utah, and also in Spanish Fork for many decades in the 50s and 60s and early 70s. And he was a really well-loved man and a good Mormon. And in fact, my families on both sides were pretty much Mormon, almost all of them. Thanks, Julie. God loves you too. Bye. And so he owned this grocery store in a time when people didn't know hardly anything about health. And so they bought into all of that regular conventional food that everyone still eats. And for me, having been a health person for as long as I've been, I find it so much of a drag that most people are still just eating mass produced junk. But a lot of people are gradually moving in the right direction. And a lot of people are learning about things, natural health things. And I guess that we have no other choice than to just allow them to get there on their own terms and in their own time. And it saddens me a lot to see the victims of all of their stupidity and time taking. But it gives me hope to see things like COVID come along and force the issue onto them. And it's really encouraging for me to know that COVID is going to keep hitting everyone every year until they submit. And it's a strange thing for me to think that, because I believe that it's a man-made thing. That's the scary part for me. If I didn't believe that it was a man-made thing, I'd be even more enthusiastic about it. If I thought it was just all natural COVID. But knowing how they're messing with GMOs and the DNA structures of things, etc., all of the things that I've heard about that, it leads me to believe that it's a man-made thing, and that I believe that what Dr. Mikovits has said from the very beginning in the pandemic video, I personally believe that that's accurate. And that's the scary thing for me. That's the scary thing for me, because we don't know how it can mutate. If it were all natural, then I'd believe that our bodies could easily be able to adapt to it. And so far, I think that I've done okay. I've never been tested, but I know I've had it. Which variants I've had, I don't know. But for me, I don't protect myself with masks hardly ever. I just don't. I don't buy into it. And And so I would imagine that, like, it seems that I've probably caught most of them. And so I wonder how hard it'll hit people in the future, but I assume that it will. And when Dr. Who says that he thinks that it's going to be easier in the future, I don't know that I agree with that, because I don't believe that the vaccines are going to make life easier for people. I don't know, though. You know, who knows? But I would guess no. I think it's going to make things worse in the long run, because people's people's bodies, they evolved on all of the things that make you feel good. I mean, they heal from the things that make you feel good. So anything that you do afterwards, if you feel really good from having done that, like for instance exercising, if you go out and you exercise and it hurts, it really hurts, and then afterwards though you kind of feel like you've been cleaned out, you feel good from that cardiovascular workout that you got. If you feel good about that, then that's a healing episode, that's a healing exercise. And the more of those kinds of things that people do, that it's something that they can grasp as being a good thing for them. But a lot of people, they don't understand that emotional healing, like a good cry, or eating something really healthy, if that made them feel really good, those are things that heal you naturally. And natural healing is the only healing. And so when they coin the term health care, and people buy into that and they pay into it, literally every month they pay into that, and they think that that's real health care. It's not. I don't agree. Because when they get to the doctor's office and they explain what their ailment is, and then he gets out a piece of paper for you to be able to go over to the pharmacy and get some kind of a synthetic medicine, synthetic medicines are not real healing. It's not like exercise. It's not like an organic meal. It's not like crying. It's not in the category of anything natural like that. It's not in the category of herbal medicine. It's not in the category of massage, or talking to a friend, or having sex with somebody, or educating yourself on something, or sitting in the sun. Pharmaceutical drugs are not in the category of anything natural. The only thing that they are that might be considered acceptable is buying time for people that have dug holes for themselves by doing unnatural things, like eating processed foods and eventually getting diabetes. The only and they're just like a means for people to be able to buy some time for themselves to possibly get off of those drugs and get natural. That's the only way that they could possibly be justified as being acceptable, in my opinion. And so, like for me, I just got off of stuff that was affecting me negatively as quickly as I possibly could. Okay, so doing art. So the other night, I sang for you. I sang for you. But I sang for me because I love singing. Ever since I was as little as I can remember, and I learned about music and singing, I loved it. I love singing. And that's one of my therapies. It's one of the things that brings joy to me and brings me back to center. And people, a lot of people are afraid to sing. And I really highly recommend that if you're afraid to sing and you think that you can sing good, you go to an open mic and do it. Because if you're afraid to sing in front of people, one of the most important things that you can do to build courage is that. I was shaking when I first did that. But I knew that I could sing and I knew that I loved to sing. And so I just did it. And I still get afraid if I go to an open mic to sing. But after I get going, then if I'm on that night, then I become calmed down. And but it still takes, after I'm done performing, it still takes a while for that adrenaline to leave my blood and for me to chill out. But I really highly recommend that if you need to do something to build courage, especially for somebody that's like a Cancer that stays in their shell, and especially during like this time of the year, Aries, the warrior, it's really good for you to go out and perform or do something. If like each of us is here to build character in some regard, okay? And you know what your thing is that you need to do, hopefully. If you don't know what your thing is that you need to do, you need to ask yourself what it is. Okay, so as an example right now, the place in our world that's building the most courage is Ukraine. But it's not just Ukraine because it's in the news, it's everywhere. Everyone. Some people are needing to to face the truth. And that place is more like in Russia. They're needing to face the truth. But everyone around the world is also needing to face truths because, like I said the other night, there are all these other truths about all these other things that are stirred up. All kinds of stuff about other issues, not just about the war in Ukraine, is being stirred up about other things. We're just in this crazy time right now of change. And it has to be. There's no way that things can continue to sustain, continue to live. Like life can't continue on this earth, all of life, unless a lot of different things change. And so for me, a lot of the healing that I'm doing right now is having to do with knowing that it's going to be okay. Now, when I say that things are going to be okay, you should know that I don't mean that I think that I'm going to survive all of this necessarily. I think I have a good chance of surviving all of this. But 90+% of life on this planet could be gone in an hour or two, or a few days, or a few weeks. And we all know what the deal is with that. I'm just saying that from all of the changes that are happening right now, that we've got a chance. Because the extreme things that are happening right now are exactly what needs to happen in order for people to wake up. Like, seriously, I've been depressed for so long because I have such good insight. Right, for me, for a long time, I didn't think that I have extraordinary insight as to being able to see the truths about things. For a long time, my thoughts were like, what is up with the rest of the world? I didn't think that I was like, same thing with massage abilities. Like, I have extraordinary massage abilities. But for a long, long, long time, that's not the way I looked at it. The way I looked at it was like when I was in massage school, I looked at the other people in the class, and I was like, hey, I must be pretty good at this. But until I was a massage teacher, probably for at least a year, and I taught at least 50 or 100 students, I didn't realize how good I was at massage. And for a long, long time, I didn't realize that I had insight into the future, and that it's not just that I had insight into the future, it's that other people were in such denial. And the more I realized that they were in such denial, and that that was the reason why everything was so effed up as it is, and that people were here, I think really, especially in the United States, that people live in this Disneyland kind of a mentality, really. People just like they'll say that they'll see stories on the news about how a lot of different things just aren't going to last, like oil supplies, like petroleum supplies. They're not going to last forever, and they'll go get in their cars and they'll drive 30 minutes each way every single day and pretend like they can continue to do that forever. Even now, look at it. Like, you would think now, okay, that the attitude about the gas prices at $4 a gallon or $5 or $7 a gallon, you would think that the attitude would be, hey, this is a good thing. We all need to get our acts together and drive less. That should be, you would think by now, with the global warming and pollution and all of the different things, you would think that everybody's attitude would be and should be, this is a good thing. We all need to drive less. It's not a problem. And, we all should be hopping on board with carpooling and everything else, not driving as much. But that's not what it is. Even though people know that that's what we ultimately need to do. And it's not a matter of, oh, we need to produce more electricity and we all need to be driving electric cars. That's not the case. That's part of it, yes. But for the most part, what we need to do is not use as much. That's 90% of it. And so, but that's not the case. Everyone out there is in this state of panic, denial, anger. They're all mad. They're mad at the oil companies, right? They're gouging us. It's the oil company's fault. And so it just blows my mind that the only way people are going to change is if they are forced to change. And so I've come to this place of where I'm just like, okay, the more nature and the more whatever just turns the screws in on people. All of those people that that I hate, the more nature destroys their houses with tornadoes and fires and hurricanes, and all the rest. The more to a degree, like I'll cry over it. I'll feel so sad and cry. But at the same time, I'm like, I've been calling this. I'll be like, I called this because I know how nature works. It works exactly the way my body works. It wants to fight off the invaders. And most people out there, they don't want that. They want an antihistamine. Histamine is part of your body. It's fighting off something that's invaded your body. But no, they want NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing. What, what was the commercial? I haven't watched television for 15 years. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, so you can rest medicine. It's still being sold. It's still being sold. That's what they want. They want to suppress their body's ability to fight something off so that they can instantly feel better and so that they don't have to eat healthy foods. And so I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting here. One of my favorite songs is Watching the Wheels. I'm just like John Lennon. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. I really love to watch them roll. No longer riding on the merry-go-round. I just had to let it go. Na na na. I just had to let it go. Mm-hmm. I just had to let it go. Oh, oh. And on that note, I would like to say good night.